Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. I had to go kind of light on the .com because I got a coffee in my hands right now. Just leaving the gym. Today is day number 26 of my 75-day hard challenge. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up. Every single day I have to work out twice per day, 45 minutes inside, 45 minutes outside, which is kind of tough in Connecticut. No alcohol, follow a diet of your choosing, read 10 pages a day of a physical hardcover book or softcover book, whatever, right? What else? Take a progress picture, and what else am I forgetting? Take a progress picture, 2 workouts a day, read 10 pages, eat on a diet, no alcohol. I don't know. I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting, right? I should know this, but yeah, good to see everybody. How's everybody doing? Today, I'm going to talk about when to fire a virtual assistant. How do you know it's the time that you have to fire an employee, fire a virtual assistant? When do you know it's time to let them go? What's up, Kevin from Lakeland, Florida? Let us know where you are watching from and smash that like button down below. Show a little bit of love. We'll see how many people come into this live stream right now, because I know a lot of folks, at least that follow me, they don't have a virtual assistant. And I'm curious, let me know in the comments what's going on, Nancy. Do you have an employee? Do you have a virtual assistant in your reselling business? Let me know down below, whether you're watching live or the recording. Let me know, do you have anybody who helps you in your business? Because for me, this was a game changer, hiring help, especially virtual assistants. And I have a ton of virtual assistants right now in my business. In my Amazon business, I have around 6 right now. I have 2 people who source. I have someone who helps with repricing, stranded inventory, someone who helps with spreadsheets, and I've got another girl who just does some random things. And, you know, I have a ton more that help me in my business, from video editing to writing to marketing to technical stuff. I work with a lot of different people, graphic designers. And this morning, I actually had to have a conversation with one of my virtual assistants. And, you know, I had heard from a couple people on my team that it was really hard to get a hold of this person. They weren't very responsive. They weren't very easy to communicate with. And when you have a team, when you're working on a team, everybody on the team should know their role. Everybody should have a role on the team. And as your team gets larger and larger, communication is so important. This is one of the #1 things that I look for when I'm hiring somebody, especially a virtual assistant on my team, is communication. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to work with other people. You have to be able to be easy to get a hold of. You have to be able to share your thoughts, your feelings, things that are working, things that are not working. And again, like I said, everybody has a role. And one of the challenges that I notice a lot of entrepreneurs have is things don't work out with their virtual assistant. And a lot of times they're like, oh, I think I need to fire them because they're not doing what I want them to do. But the issue is, with a lot of folks, you've never even clearly defined what you want them to do, right? The worst thing that you can do is say, I want you to manage my YouTube, or I want you to source items for me, right? Let's talk Amazon. I want you to source my inventory. Well, what does that mean? How many items should they be sourcing? What's the criteria? What's the profit margin? What's the ROI? How many should they source? You have to be very, very, very specific. And I have different goals and KPIs with my team. And not to go too deep, but you just need to be very specific what you expect of a virtual assistant, right? Not only in terms of communication, but performance. You need to communicate with someone on your team. What does success look like? So if you hire someone to help with, you know, repricing your inventory, what does success look like? How many items are they repricing per day? What are they doing? Are they changing automations in Bqool? Are they going in and just setting the minimum, maximum prices? If they're sourcing items, how many items should they source? What's the quality? Are there incentives if they source more? There's just a lot that goes into a role. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. If you have someone on your team and the role is perfectly clear, the expectations are perfectly clear, they know what success looks like, and you're very clear with how they're supposed to communicate, how they're supposed to check in, how many items they're supposed to source, what it is they're exactly supposed to do in order to succeed. And that's got to be a reasonable expectation. And that's got to be something that's agreed upon when the relationship starts and as time goes on. It's something that you develop over time. You start at one point in your business working with a virtual assistant, and over time you develop rules, you develop boundaries that make it a win-win relationship, okay? Now, the reason I'm going so deep into this is because a lot of times, like I said, people will fire a virtual assistant or be unhappy because they're a poor leader. They never set the roles, they never set the expectations. But let's say that you are very clear with the role of the virtual assistant or the employee. They agree. Maybe they're performing very well. Things are going great. Everything's going fantastic. And then all of a sudden, their performance starts to drop, right? Maybe they're not communicating as much. Maybe they're not sourcing as many items. You notice that they're not checking in. They're not sharing different KPIs. They're delivering things late. The biggest thing that I've learned, and this is what I actually did today with one of my virtual assistants, is you have to let them know. You have to say, hey, it's come to my attention that this, and this hasn't been happening lately. We've noticed that your performance has dropped a little bit, and while we love working with you, the business has specific needs that aren't being taken care of right now. And I wanted to share with you that, the business is, it's very important that X, Y, and Z is done for the business. And what I want to do is I want to share with you some thoughts to be able to improve our working relationship. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on a, and this is just what I do, I'm going to put you on a 30-day improvement plan. Now, again, I love working with you. Everything's amazing. This isn't a big deal, so don't feel bad. Everybody enjoys working with you. But if we're going to continue working together in a business relationship, the needs of the business have to be taken care of. And what I found is best is to share, what the business needs are, what's doing really well, but also what's lacking, and get into agreements of what are the things that need to change over the next 30 days, not for me, but for the business. You don't want to make it a personal thing. You don't want to make it feel like, oh, I'm mad at you because you're not doing this, that, and that. Once it becomes personal, that's when things start to just get a little emotional and crazy. So what I always do, I never make it a personal thing. And I've made these mistakes before. I try not to make it personal. I try to make it a business deal, right? The business has these needs. They're not getting met. What I want to do is I want to put you on a 30-day improvement plan to make sure that this, and this is able to be done from now on. So you're going to check in at this time, or you're going to supply this many leads, or if you have any issues, you're going to communicate with me and the team, and you want to get them to agree to it, because now you're on the same page. And if things don't work out, if their performance keeps dropping, it's not a surprise if you have to fire them, because you guys are both in agreement with what's the goal, what are the expectations, this is the role. And if they keep performing poorly, it's not a surprise that, oh, things aren't working out. Is that my mom? Let me see. No, I thought that was my mom for some reason. So that's the biggest thing for me is, you want to be on the same page. You want to share what's going on. Don't make it a personal thing. Make it a business thing. Let them know that, hey, the needs of the business aren't being met. These are the things that the business needs. I want to put you on a 30-day improvement plan. So instead of saying, it looks like this car is going to smash into somebody. But instead of saying like, what a lot of workers do, like bosses, they'll put you on like a 30-day, what's it called? It's like a really nasty word. I forget what it's called, but it's like, what you could say is like, you have 30 days to do right, or I'm going to have to let you go. Like that's going to kill the spirit and the morale of the person and your teammate in your company. Like that's going to kill it. But if you say, hey, I love working with you, and these are all the great things you're doing, and while we all enjoy working with you, so on and so forth, the business has these needs where we need these graphics, or the videos need to be edited at this time. And what I want to do is I want to put you on a 30-day improvement plan. Yeah, probation period. Like that's a nasty word. Like who wants to be put on probation? But what about a 30-day improvement plan? That sounds a lot nicer. It's a lot more gentle. And this is one of my weak points, is I'm so blunt and I'm so straight to the point that I could be seen as an a-hole sometimes, like when I talk to people. And like, I've been called that before with teammates, and I've learned like, you have to be gentle. You can't be so harsh and in people's faces, because you know how it is. Like, people work hard and people are going through things in life, and you know, a lot of times like, you think like someone's slacking off, and a lot of times it's like they have issues with their kids or children, or someone passed away, or there's health issues. So I try to be more empathetic and more gentle, and use words that aren't going to destroy their morale. Because at the end of the day, think about it, like, I have people who have access to my Amazon account, to my eBay account. You know, we're sourcing 1,000 to 1,500 items. Like, they could sabotage my business. And at the end of the day, you know, like, I'm providing for my team and my virtual assistants to be able to, you know, raise a family and pay their bills. And like, I have to be empathetic, and I have to be grateful and appreciative of all the things they're doing for me. So instead of a probation period, yeah, a 30-day improvement plan. And then what you do is you're gentle about it. You don't have to be so in people's face and like, I'm going to fire you and you're going to lose your job. Like, that doesn't work, like trying to be a freaking dictator, right? So be gentle, be open, be honest, be firm, communicate it, you know, be nice with your words. You know, instead of a probation period, a 30-day improvement plan, and then circle back and reassess. It only takes 5 or 10 minutes. And what I did is I reached out to some of the folks on my team, and I said, hey, let's, you know, this is what I've decided to do. You know, we love working with her, but, you know, these were the issues. I've put her on a 30-day, you know, improvement plan. Please keep me in the loop with things if there's any more issues or anything I could do to help. And then you just reassess in 30 days. And if things aren't working out, then it's not a good fit. And it's not like it's going to be a surprise when you have a conversation with them and they're not meeting the standards of the role. So that's the biggest thing. But before all of that, and the hardest part of having success with anybody on your team, is you have to be sure to take time to train them, to teach them how to do whatever it is you want to do, to be clear with what the role encompasses, what does success look like in the role, so you can determine what success is based on specific things, like you source X amount of items, you deliver this many videos per week, you send this many emails, or you edit this many words per week, or you know, you create this many short form pieces of content for my video. Be very clear what success looks like, you know, otherwise known as, you know, maybe KPIs, key performance indicators. You have maybe 4 or 5 things that you track, or someone on your team tracks. And you don't have to be crazy, like checking in with this person. Like, did you check the emails 3 times? Like, did you do this? Like, nobody wants to be micromanaged. Let them manage themselves. The results will tell a story. And people could only hide in BS for so long. But again, most people are good people. They want to succeed. But it's hard for someone to succeed if they don't know what success looks like, right? If you're telling them to, you know, go west, but they don't have a compass and they don't understand, you know, how to tell what direction they're in, and you don't give them any direction, like, how are they going to get there? They don't know how to get there. Like, you have to point them in a direction, share with them what does success look like, invest in them, improve, right? Spend time to train. I create a lot of training videos for my team. And now I've gotten to a point in my business, which is actually a really cool part of having a larger team, is I have managers now, and I have folks who are in leadership roles who have to, how do I say, I don't have to do all the day-to-day checking in, and, you know, I build the overarching systems, and I hire people who, you know, are trustworthy, that have been with, you know, been with me for a couple years, and we slowly build and build and build, and next thing you know, you got yourself a pretty cool team, and you're able to get a lot of stuff done. So yeah, I just want to share some of my thoughts. I don't know if this was valuable for anybody. Put maybe a 1 in the comments if this was valuable. Put a 2 if you're like, Steve, come on, let's just talk about how to find books at the thrift store. But I'm just sharing my experience and something I was going through this morning, because again, it had come to my attention that someone on my team was kind of, you know, just not responsive, not communicating as much. And communication is very, very important in all sorts of relationships. Summer H says 1, very valuable, Steve. Awesome. Marco says 1, it is what I do at my retail management job. Oh, awesome, Marco. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So, you know, there's only so much time in the day. And, you know, while a lot of us want to grind our face off and go nuts, thanks, Angel. You know, we have sleep, we have, you know, we got to eat, you know, you got to shower, you got family and friends, and you got to work out, and there's different parts of life. And, you know, there's only so much energy you have in a day to work on things that actually make a difference. So what I've really been trying to do, and I'm failing often. I'm still a mess. There's still a lot of things that I'm going through, challenges with just focus and working on certain things on my business and whatnot. But I really try to outsource and delegate a lot of the things that really aren't as important to generating income, that don't lead to really making an impact in my business or making an impact in people's lives with like my education business and whatnot. And yeah, there's only so much time in the day. So having a really great team to support you, which isn't easy, which takes time, it's great. It's a great feeling to have a team to support you and whatnot. Hey, the Chief, I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions about virtual assistants or hiring a team, or when it's time to let someone go, which I don't know if I fully answered that, but I would say if they don't comply after you've talked and you have to keep repeating yourself, so on and so forth, it's, and you've agreed upon the role and what success looks like, then it's, most likely time to let them go. And, then you go out and find somebody new and you learn from your mistakes. And one tip I would actually like to give is what's really helped me out a lot. And the cool thing now is I don't even hire anybody. Like, I have a team that I create the application, but they do the interview process. They put all the Zoom calls together. They ask all the questions I want. They feel them out. They have multiple calls, and then they bring the candidates to me. They share their thoughts, and then I make the final decision. So that's one of the cool parts. But the thing that I wanted to share was, don't just rush the process so quickly to hire somebody, because if you hire the wrong person, it causes absolute chaos in your life. Who's ever been in a really bad relationship with somebody and you're like, man, like, you had so many red flags? And I've been in a lot of relationships and a lot of failed relationships, and every single one of them was my fault because I ignored the red flags. And a lot of them were just my fault for being immature and just being a dumbass. But, you live and you learn. But the point I'm trying to make is you don't want to rush into a relationship, in a work relationship. Take your time, trust your gut feeling, ask the right questions, give people sample work, see how they perform, see how they communicate. And even though a lot of the folks I live with my VAs. No, a lot of the folks that I work with, I gotta keep drinking this coffee, are in the Philippines. Even though I'm in Connecticut and I'm thousands of miles away, you can feel a certain energy based on their tonality and how they talk and how they respond. And that vibe is so important, right? Just like dating and relationships, friendships, it's that chemistry, it's that vibe. Don't ignore your gut feeling. And everybody's different, right? I vibe with certain people, and then there's other people who are very I don't get along very well with very egotistical people or people who are very cocky, or I don't get along with people who are super hard-headed and not open. Like, I've just learned over time, like, those types of people, even though I'm sure they're good people, like, you'll see the worst of me come out, because it's just, I don't vibe with people like that. Other people, like super duper masculine guys who, they want to hang out with those guys and like they want to go head to head and be like, it's just, that's not my vibe. That's just not what I vibe with. And I'm not saying anything's better or worse. I don't vibe with like a lot of negativity, a lot of gossip. I just don't. And I'm sure I still do my fair share of it, but you got to figure out what works for you, what vibe you vibe with. We vibing. Brandon says, what would you say is a fair amount to pay a virtual assistant? Brandon, it really depends on the role. I have virtual assistants on my team who get paid $300 a month, and then I have virtual assistants that are over $1,000 a month. So it just depends on the role. If you want to share some examples, I can share what I've paid in those roles. Henry says, definitely like-minded individuals, seek them out. Exactly. Summer says, yes, I have. The scariest thing to me with virtual assistants, allowing them to access all your accounts. The thing is, Summer, you could put precautions in place. Like, for example, there's obviously a threat to having anybody on your account, but like with Amazon, you could add people under user permissions and they only get certain access to your account. Like, I have people have access to my PayPal account because they have to pull reports and do refunds and different things for my coaching programs, because I just don't have time for it, all the customer service stuff. And you have to have trust, but you're able to put limitations in place. Like, my VAs aren't able to like go in and send money. Like, I still pay my team. I could put a virtual assistant in place to pay my entire team, but I want to be in that role because I don't want to give away that much liability. Brandon says fair amount to pay a VA to source OA leads. It depends. With OA leads, you know, you could either pay per hour or you could pay per lead. I don't know if I would go based on profit. I don't have a ton of experience paying per profit or paying per lead. I do hourly. So my sourcing team, I think they're at around $3.50 per hour, but I do eBay to Amazon sourcing. So, you know, my profit margins are a bit higher. But the thing is, with your type of leads, if you're doing like traditional online arbitrage on like retail websites and online websites, you could buy multiple quantities. So a lead may be worth more money to you. But I would just say feel it out. Talk to mentors. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be a good mentor for you in terms of paying per lead because I don't know. I've played with that idea. I like the idea of paying per lead. But then the problem is when you pay them per lead, obviously it incentivizes them to give you crap leads. So you have to have some structure in place to not have them give you leads that aren't profitable. And then I guess if you pay per profit, profit's always changing based on the market and prices tanking. So like, how do you quantify that and measure that without spending so much time, like always analyzing and like, what if the price of it tanks? So I don't know. You're going to have to play around with that. I don't have a ton of experience, Brandon, but definitely something to think about. Gary says, I've had many employees over the years. The secret is to have an excellent manager in place. In the military, the general does not tell the private how to march. He tells the, is it a colonel? I don't even know how to pronounce that word. I'm sorry. I don't know much about the military. To take care. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I read a book recently and it talked about how in every business you need to have the entrepreneur, but then you have to have the integrator, the manager. And yeah, I mean, that's the point that I definitely want to be at, is where I'm just the visionary and I'm, you know, focusing on the super high level stuff, but I still am playing both roles in my business as a CEO. I am the visionary mostly, probably 80%, but I'm still 20% manager, integrator, which, you know, takes time to build the team to be able to do that. But yeah, it's a great point right there. Glad you guys are enjoying this topic. Colonel. Oh, okay. I didn't know what a colonel. Oh man, look at me. I told you guys I'm not the brightest bulb. I don't know why you're following me. Mona says, hey guys, I'm looking for an affordable CPA accountant to file my Amazon sales taxes. Affordable? I don't know what that is when it comes to accountants. My LLC is registered in Wyoming. I live in Germany. I don't know. Do a Google search, ask around in the Facebook groups. My CPA is the least bit inexpensive. So yeah, you're going to have to, I would go into some Facebook groups, maybe some entrepreneur groups in your area, get some references from people. That's the best way to do it. Get references from others. I don't really have anybody to recommend that's inexpensive. I think last year I paid over like $3,000 to my CPA. So yeah, and then I just got my quarterly bill, which was $800. So yeah, Summer says those employees who are arrogant in nature are incapable of learning. And guess what, Summer? If they're arrogant, that's like a huge negative quality. And you should be able to see, not you, but like we should be able to learn quite quickly if someone's like that. And I think that's why we have to take our time to get to know somebody, put them on maybe like a trial period, really get to know them, talk to them, learn about who they are as a person, ask them specific questions to kind of learn more about their character. And, you know, I'll even go a little deeper into say that I hire for character over skill. I think skill is very important, but if you got a shithead that you're working with and they're super talented, like I just want to blow my brains out. I'll be honest with you. So I'd rather work with somebody who, you know, isn't you know what, who has character, who has values, who doesn't lie, who doesn't BS you, who respects your time just like you respect their time, who cares about other people and the culture and keeping a positive environment. And, you know, everyone's going to have their off days. I do too. Sometimes I'm a complete piece of, you know what, like, come on, we all are. Let's not sit here on social media like we're all so perfect. We all know that we're all still a big work in progress. But overall, you know, if someone's 95%, you know, on point with what you want and they have some bad days, but they grow and they learn and they improve like we all are, then that's fine. Summer says they're so ego driven, they'd rather double down on their poor performance or bad behaviors instead of even admitting that they're wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's just some people just, you know, they just have a big ego and they just see the world a certain way, and you're not going to change anybody else, right? That's why you want to hire for character, and you don't want to try to change people, because that's an uphill battle. And managing our stress and keeping a positive environment is like 90% of the battle, I feel like, when you're working with a team. And I even, you know, I have a couple people on my team now that are in leadership roles, manager roles, especially in my education business, and they're really going to start helping more with like my content creation and different things like that. Is I said, when we hire people, I want people who communicate. I want people that are nice and sweet and positive. I don't want combative people. I don't want people who are putting up fights, hard-headed, ego-driven folks. Like, I just don't want to work with people like that. I just don't want to deal with it. It's too much stress. It's too much drama. I remember I worked with a girl when I was when we were really active with one of my courses, Book Business Blueprint, a couple years ago. There was a girl that we were working with, and like anytime we would ever give her another task, we'd give her another job, like, I want more money, I want more pay, like, I'm not doing extra work. And it was just like everything was so transactional, and it just was so disgusting to me. You know, of course it's a transaction at the end of the day in business, but I don't know, like, I don't want to treat like a virtual assistant like you're a virtual assistant. Like, I don't want to treat you like, oh, you're here to just do a job. Like, I want to treat you with respect as a person. I want you to feel good. I want you to feel like you're in a place where you're wanted and you're needed and you're respected. And yeah, I just can't stand working with people who it's just all transaction. It's all money. If all you care about is money, and I guess sometimes maybe, you know, we all care about money to an extent at a certain point, like in business, like business is business. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's a learning experience. But I had a really bad experience with this one girl. This was a couple years ago. And it was just, we had to let her go. It was just too much stress, too much drama. And it's like, are you going to take care of the business? Or is everything just going to be about the last penny that you make? Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Summer. Henry says, and speak clearly. One of my pet peeves. Steve Rakin, genuine person. I certainly appreciate that. I try, you know, I've got my good and my bad days. Summer says, yikes, I've noticed that a lot of younger employees are acting this way. They work for a month and they expect to be a manager. Yeah, that's why it's kind of tough. I hate to say this, and like, this is probably, I'll probably get canceled after this, but I just hate working with people in America. And I don't know, I'm sure it's like I'm generalizing here, but I've probably hired, I don't know, over the last 5 years, like maybe probably like 20 or 30 people in America. It just always ends bad. They want so much money, which I get it. It's more expensive out here, but they're so entitled. Like, they think that like they're like painting a Picasso portrait or something. Like, with anything they touch is like, it's like they're the sacred child of the Lord and Savior. It's just like so much like, can't you just invest in the job a little bit and show you care? And like, can't you like put some like upfront equity, like hard work and sweat, before you start asking for like every single handout? And again, I don't know if it's an American thing or it's like a Western thing. I don't know, but like, that's why I like to work with people in the Philippines. And I don't know, I think it's just people out here are very privileged. We're very entitled. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this world. I don't know the answer, guys. You guys know the answer more than me, but I just can't. It's just really, really hard. It's like, I don't know. It's just like people out here are just, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. It's like I have to make like $500,000 a year to like have a team of like 5 Americans, and then they're going to do absolute crap. And if you disrespect them, or if you don't give them everything you want, like, you're going to get sued up the yin yang. I don't know, right? I'm sure there's like a million counter arguments to that, right? I'm not making the best points, but I'm just sharing my experience. I like working with people in the Philippines the most. Let's see. Christelle says, where can I get a virtual assistant? I hire my virtual assistants from 3 places. 90%, I would say, of the virtual assistants I hire on Onlinejobs.PH. And then probably like, I don't know, 8% to 9% are on Upwork.com. And then like 1% is on Fiverr for like random jobs every now and then. But yeah, mostly Onlinejobs.PH is where I hire most of my virtual assistants. So Yeah, it's like a Filipino-based website. What's wrong with society nowadays? I don't know, Henry. Summer's like, you're dead on about this. I don't know. I'm just sharing my experience, but who knows? It could just be poor leadership skills, or I don't know. It's a whole thing, but yeah, looks like that's all we got for questions now, guys. I just want to say I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Hopefully there was a little bit of value outside of my random little rants and tangents. And yeah, definitely get yourself a virtual assistant, right? Invest in them, train them. You know, start with just one role at a time. Don't train them to do 77 different things in 77 different areas of 77 different businesses. One thing, one business, one area, one niche down thing that could maybe take a couple hours off your week that's not super high level. Train them in that, teach them to be really great at that, and then slowly expand and focus on what makes you the most money, focus on what makes the most impact, the most sense in your business that really only you can do, and go from there. So with that being said, everybody, much love. Appreciate you all. Smash that like button, show some love, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks. Bye.